How can we find the right balance between the silence and solitude that is so often conducive for spiritual progress and interacting in the physical world to do more tangible seva? Seva is service, selfless service. In the West we say, you could say volunteer work, but that really doesn't even begin to touch what seva is. Seva is service of humanity, of God through humanity, of God through nature, of the Creator through the creation. So it's selfless in that way. But unlike something just like volunteer work, seva is really also a deep spiritual practice. It's not so much we are serving others because we are so fortunate and we are so skilled and we are so wonderful and they are unskilled or poor or disadvantaged, and so from over here we serve them. It's not that. Seva really as a spiritual practice is serving others as a means also for our own spiritual awakening. At which point, of course, it doesn't matter whether you're cleaning toilets or stuffing envelopes or designing websites or doing any one of thousands and thousands different types of things that people would do in seva. Because it's not about the toilets you're cleaning or the carrots you're cutting or the chapatis you're rolling or the website you're designing or the envelopes you're stuffing. It's about using yourself as a tool really in the hands of the divine flow, and using your time and your energy in service as a way to break these borders and break lines between self and other, break value judgments, and just give of the self. So, with that definition, how do we balance the quiet and the silence and the solitude that's needed for spiritual practice and being in the world in service? Well, the balance looks a little bit different, of course, for each person. We all have different temperaments and we all have different sadhana practices. But in general, here, for example, where the ashram is rooted in the teaching, really Pujya Swamiji's philosophy is that the most natural byproduct of the right meditation, the most natural byproduct of deep sadhana, deep spiritual practice, is service. Because in your meditation, you experience a sense of oneness with the world. In your meditation, you experience a sense of being in the hands of the divine. In your meditation, you experience a desire more and more and more to just be hollowed out and be empty, so that more and more of the divine will can flow through you. And so the most natural byproduct of that is to come out of the meditation and say, what can I do? So for us here on a specific level, the balance tends to look like we all have our own practice in the mornings, in the nights, during the day perhaps. Those are what we would call charging your batteries. And then the rest of the day is spent in Seva. But here's the important aspect, is it's really important to not have there be, again, these boxes. Seva is a spiritual practice. So it's not about my spiritual work, sitting on a cushion, sitting in the dark room, sitting with my eyes closed, sitting on a mat, and I charge my battery, and then I go out and I expend my battery, and when it's all empty, I've got to go back and, sit in the dark room and cross my legs and sit on my mat. It's through my meditation, I have the renewed, energized awareness experience of the preciousness of being alive, the incredibleness of every moment and every minute of being alive, and therefore an eagerness in every minute and every moment to be actively connected to the world, life, the creation. And so whether that comes in the form of cleaning the toilets or cutting the carrots or stuffing the envelopes or designing the website or doing whatever it may be, there's an eagerness to see how much I can give to every minute and every moment. There's an eagerness to see what new thing can come through me today. Yeah, I've stuffed envelopes every day for the last 4 months. I'm going to be stuffing envelopes again today. But nonetheless, what newness in me in my experience? And I've specifically chosen tasks that seem very, very mundane. Because obviously if something is exciting and glamorous and romantic and objectively important, it carries within it its own excitement. But the real beauty and challenge and excitement of the Seva and Sadhana is, how can even the most mundane things, like cleaning toilets and cutting vegetables, be exciting opportunities for me to give even more of myself, to be even more present, to be even more committed, even more sincere, even more at one with the toilet I'm cleaning, the carrot I'm cutting, the knife I'm using to cut it, the person who has used the toilet that I'm cleaning, the person who will eat the carrots that I'm cutting, the person who grew the carrots, the farmer, the earth in which they grew. I mean, there's a whole variety of ways that one could connect with that. It's not just about how many carrots do you chop. And so when we talk about the importance of the solitude and the quiet, yeah, it's important. It's important to reconnect us to who we are and what it's about. But ultimately the goal is that should come with you into the Seva. It's not about, I have my silence, I have my solitude, I leave that in my closed room, then I go out and do something that is not meditative or quiet. It's just that instead of the quiet being outside of me, the quiet now becomes inside of me. Instead of the solitude being around me, the solitude now is within me. And that's the gift, is how can I find a quiet that stays with me? And that's what meditation gives us. But then it stays with us in the world. That sense of connection that we experience in meditation stays with us in the world. And so the emphasis becomes on meditation in life. Yoga in life. When we say yoga off the mat or meditation off the cushion. It doesn't just mean, what's your volunteer program of the month. It's not just, the third Saturday of every month we come together and we make sandwiches for the poor people. That's great. We should all do it, by all means. But that's not the fullness of the expression. When we really talk about yoga off the mat, or meditation off the cushion, or yoga in life, meditation in life, it's about every minute of life. It's about how can that which I connect with in my meditation, how can I experience that in the world? So for example, when I meditate and I connect with my inner self, soul, spirit, essence, light, love, and I realize as I meditate that all of that around me is just form. It's not essence. Well, when I then open my eyes and I move through the world, and someone looks the wrong way, too fat, too thin, too dark, too white, too tall, too short, too rich, too poor, too loud, too quiet, I have the same awareness. That's just form, not essence. Because when I've connected with that in me, I understand that about others. And so that, in a nice, beautiful way, actually circles us back to the first question on judgment. Because if I take myself out of the box, then I'm taking others out of the box. And then I find that instead of moving through the world, connecting form to form, I'm able to connect essence to essence. And as I experience that in myself, the things that happen to the form are no longer of the stuff that ups and downs are made of. Doesn't mean that we don't get sad or that we don't feel happy. I mean, certainly things happen in life. Spirituality, I always say, is not an inoculation against things happening in life. But they don't impact us in the way that they do when we are identified as form. And so whether it's something in my job, whether it's something in a relationship, whether it's something about my physical appearance, as I'm connected with essence and aware that who I am is essence rather than form, I'm not as thrown around by the fluctuations in form. And I'm not as impacted by the fluctuations in form of others. Oh my God, he got a horrible haircut. Oh my God, she gained some weight. Oh my God, it's the form has shifted ever so slightly. But the essence is the same. And so that enables us, yes, to do our seva and also to live our lives, whatever we're doing, in a way that's completely different, in a way that is quiet, is alone even. The question asked about solitude, because inside you're alone. And in a very beautifully paradoxic way, you're alone and connected at the same time. But it's not a connectedness that makes you feel claustrophobic. It's not the everybody's encroaching on my space, but it's an experience of it's all my space. There is no end to my space, where previously it was just this is my space, and when there's too many people and too much stuff, it's encroaching. Suddenly you've got this beautiful experience of being connected to it all, but not being encroached upon by any of it, because it's all my space. There's an infinite amount of space. And so if we can bring that quiet, that inner quiet, because the truth is, the stuff that bothers us, that really steals our peace, is almost never the noise outside. Not never. There have certainly been places and times where there is a noise outside that is absolutely grating. But that's very rare. Normally, the noise that really steals our peace is the noise in our own mind. And so you can go to the quietest place in the world, but you've still got your own mind. And if you're able to allow the mind to become quiet, then even if you go into a place that's loud outside, you're sitting in a place that's quiet. And so that stays with you.